Coming up after the break, turns out bigger is not always better. Apple unveiled new products today, and the company is betting on the small screen. Apple has unveiled its latest devices. It seems the company is betting small things can bring big rewards. That story kicks off the roundup. Today, the company introduced smaller versions of its flagship iPhone and iPad devices. iPhone SE will match the speed and features of iPhone 6s, but it will sell for the more modest price of $399. Apple CEO Tim Cook also spoke about the company's ongoing fight over the encryption of its phones.
We did not expect to be in this position at odds with our own government, but we believe strongly that we have a responsibility to help you protect your data and protect your privacy.
Nicole Verkindt is the founder and president of ONX. She's here to talk about this story and others. So are you excited by what Apple is announcing today? It's not exactly a big launch of something brand new, but what do you think?
It was an uneventful launch. And compared to some of the other Apple launches of the past, they were revolutionizing industries. And Steve Jobs had the famous "and one more thing." And this was an uneventful product launch. It was an iteration of what they currently have. I think it's definitely in the right direction. They've got smaller sizes.
Is that the right direction, do you think?
If it's what users want. I mean, they've got more colors. They've got the flash for the selfie. These are uneventful things. These are not revolutionizing new markets like education and television and in markets where Steve Jobs set out to revolutionize beyond the ones he already has.
Right. A number of people have been commenting, of course the company is hugely successful, no one can deny that, but that it kind of needs a bit of a boost right now. The iPhone sales are leveling off a little bit. What do you think is ahead for this company?
Well, I mean, we're being hard on them. Apple's a massive company, and they're still extremely innovative, and their user experience is incredible, and their head designer is just...
So you're in love with...
I'm in love with Apple,
okay,
yeah.
All right. So no problems as you can see.
Well, I do think they've lost their fearless leader. They lost their mojo a little bit, in that this launch was not what it used to be. These launches used to be truly a spectacle, and truly, today we are revolutionizing some industry, and that's not what we saw today.
Right, okay, but you'll keep using your Apple, obviously. All right, so let's talk a little bit about AT&T. The American telecommunications giant is introducing a Netflix-like version of cable television, offering subscribers hundreds of TV channels streamed over the internet. Customers will simply need to download the app, sign up, type in a credit card number, and start streaming TV shows. Subscribers won't need an AT&T wireless phone or an AT&T broadband connection at home. There's no annual contract or satellite dish required. The company plans to launch the service in the fall of this year. So maybe this is kind of what you were talking about with Apple, something big that could be revolutionary. And certainly, I'm sure a lot of Canadians would be interested, given how the pick and pay thing hasn't exactly been a resounding success. They might be very interested in an app like this, don't you think?
Oh, I just love this. This is the democratization of television, and this is the exact direction this has to go. I mean, even the exchange, I'm often streaming from my phone and watching it in between in an Uber, in a cab somewhere, and this is the direction that television has to go. What's left with television is really sports and news. We have Netflix, we have Amazon Prime, we have a whole bunch of outlets where we can get some content, but for that real time, watching the 100-meter dash in the Olympics or seeing the news real time, you're going to need to be able to pick and choose, and that's what this is starting to show.
But can you see Apple and, TELUS and Rogers and Bell going for this sort of a thing here?
I hope they do. I mean, this is an open market, and consumers are going to be demanding this. I can really see it.
But it would really eat into their current business of selling cable. I mean, I should point out, AT&T is in the same situation. They sell cable, and they're also selling broadband, but their line is data is the new cable. So they seem to be ready to move to the next step, the future. I'm just wondering whether Canadian companies would be quite so eager.
The ironic thing is Rogers might be losing on some of their cable revenue, but then they're increasing on their Wi-Fi and broadband, so they're going to be getting some revenue somewhere.
All right. So Mark Zuckerberg was in China on the weekend. He was trying to convince the government there to allow access to Facebook. Over the weekend, the social media founder met with the country's propaganda chief. While in Beijing, he also posted this photo on Facebook, despite the service being banned in China. A lot of people in the country were commenting on it. Smog levels that day were reported as hazardous to human health. Children are wearing face masks in this smog. It's Tiananmen Square, by the way, that he's running through. And people are saying, this just looks like propaganda. How desperate is this guy to do business in China that he's going to post this without any kind of comment to go, hey, look, everything's great in China. I'm running through Tiananmen Square filled with smog, and it's just a happy, smiley day.
Well, this is really tough. I mean, entering the Chinese market for tech companies has been very, very difficult to date. I mean, they've got almost their own market there. They've got WeChat, and they've got Baidu, so they've got their own Google, their own Messenger, and Facebook hasn't been able to enter that market. So it's kind of reminded me, and every time I went to an international market, it's kind of, as soon as you land there, you go, oh, when in Rome, right? You're now in a different market, and China truly is a different market. I'm calling it the great firewall of China for internet-based companies. So Zuckerberg has a connection to China. His wife is Chinese. His child has a Chinese name, so he's really trying to get in there. And it's interesting the approach that he's taking and having these meetings, because it's clearly a massive market.
Well, I mean, there's no question why he would want to get in there. 700 million potential users who are currently, of course, not able to use Facebook at all. There's a ban on social media. But I just wonder whether you will sort of approve of him going to these lengths to try and get in there. As I say, people are sort of saying, well, you met with the propaganda minister, and you're also being used as propaganda in a sense, because if, Mark Zuckerberg is willing to meet with these very senior people who are, as we know, banning social media, cracking down on all this sort of thing, go to Tiananmen Square where peaceful demonstrators were, violently attacked, etc., is that the price? Do you want to be used as that kind of a symbol to say, hey, everything's great in China?
That's a very tough decision that business leaders are going to have to make, and that he's clearly making here. But you're walking on that line, right, of your moral ethics of how much transparency and propaganda are you going to be accepting with your product. But eventually, I think Chinese people are going to be demanding to use this product. They've got friends in America and Canada and Europe and the different countries. And
they can demand all they want, but Nicole, that doesn't mean they're going to get it, right?
I think the more and more the pressure increases, you're going to hopefully see it opening up. And the more China, they have a massive middle class that's emerging, and they're trying to drive more productivity and more competitiveness globally. And to do that, you have to be part of the global world. And so hopefully they'll be doing that through these types of platforms that connect people.
It'll be interesting to see, too, because Zuckerberg's approach is quite different. Like, for example, the head of Uber has gone to China. He did not publicize it in this way. He wasn't, managing to get a Facebook post out or tweeting it up or making so much attention. It was a little more under the radar. So, of course, people in the industry are watching to see, well, let's see if Zuckerberg has success, because maybe a different approach would work here.
Uber's a great example, though, because Lyft is now a lot more successful in China than Uber, because they've gone in and followed the Chinese rules. All
right, well, let's talk about something completely different. They don't call them man's best friend for nothing. Dealing with the death of a loved one can be difficult, even when it's one of our furry friends. Some companies now, including Shoppers Drug Mart, offer a day off to employees who've lost a pet. Studies have shown that there is no significant difference in the attachment between people and their pets and the attachment between human family members. Not every company offers the benefit, however. Canada's Labour Code says bereavement leave applies when a member of an employee's immediate family dies. In that case, employees are entitled to take one working day off within 3 days of the death. What do you think? Is this a good thing that companies are recognizing this, or just kind of ridiculous?
Absolutely. This is very progressive. I think the days of managing FaceTime are going away. You're managing employees, you're managing performance and expectations, and they're going to take sick days, they're going to take days off. This is just another example of treating people like humans, and I think this is fine. This is nice. Pets are just like
another example of treating pets like humans, right? Employees are humans, and apparently pets are also family members.
Yeah, we are living in a digital age, though. I mean, you can answer emails from Spot's funeral. The line that I was wondering is, though, what pets are going to qualify, right? Is your goldfish going to qualify?
You probably just give the name, not the species. That would be safer. All right, well, thanks for being here, Nicole.
Thanks, Sam.